All right, we are live with episode 93 of the Download Illuvium news. We've got some pretty good stuff to talk about, and a huge leak dropped today from the Going Hyper podcast. Great pod today. Highly recommend everyone go and watch it after you've watched this stream if you have some time. Otherwise, just watch it at some other point during the week. It is really, really good. But I got one leak I want to steal from their podcast, and we're going to talk about that in depth, in detail at the end of this stream. But Illuvium's looking pretty exciting. We're finally getting some leaks from the MMO Lite, which is getting me a bit hyped again, to be honest. I'm excited for the future of the arena. They've got some really good updates and things lined up because they got all the features in, and now they've got to polish it. They've got to get all the quality of life, the tutorials and everything in, so that it's playable for newcomers, which they've never really had before. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. There's some really exciting things on the horizon. Let's just put it that way. How you going today, man?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Excited to see what you've cooked up. I think this is the first time that I didn't watch the podcast with Dick and Lama, and you actually had. So it's kind of new territory for me.
Oh, don't no one spoil it for him because there was some juicy shit, man. It's actually so funny. You missed the one episode that had
the
some
one that's got some solid shit
they usually have some fun leaks, but this is the first time we got MMO Lite leaks. All right, I think that's a milestone. I think it's a milestone. Not to discredit the past leaks, okay?
We're addressing it. We're addressing it in this episode, right? You've got it here for me, or
there's one in particular. There's two or three, so I'll leave the others for people to go watch that podcast. But there's one in particular that I do want to talk about. So yeah. So cool. I'll leave some for others. Don't worry, Rich. I'm not gonna steal all your stuff. I don't actually think Rich minds, but
I think Rich wants it, to be honest. But
I'm gonna steal it all for another video. Maybe I'm not trying not to steal it for myself.
Cool.
Okay.
But by the way, chat. What do you guys? Well, let me ask a question in chat. What do you guys think? Are you guys happy? I know Big Man MMO's looking great. Do you guys agree? Disagree? Tell us why in the chat. Keen to see that conversation happen.
It's going to be curious. For anyone who didn't know, I actually AI'd one of the MMO leaks for the thumbnail of this video. I don't know if anyone caught on to that a whole lot, but you might like that. Tishi's got to check the thumbnail now. Okay.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Let's get to the first announcement. So Gauntlet feedback survey is out. Highly recommend everyone go in, throw your feedback in. This is how we make the game better. Don't skimp out on this. This is an important tool for the team to leverage. I'm going to give you a really quick look at what it looks like. Basically, you say, how satisfied are you with a bunch of different things in the game? For example, region selection, the region effects, how enjoyable do you find it, the zoom level, the draft deck movement and everything, how smooth and enjoyable is the draft deck feature. It's got things like simple enough to combine augments. This looks like it's a big form. It took me maybe... And I write long-ass answers. I'm like one of those nerdy kids in high school or whatever, right?
Of course you are.
I write long-ass answers. It took me maybe 10, 15 minutes to fill out the entire form. So really, like for like a normal person, it'll take you like 5 minutes tops. Like you're fine. It's all good. Really, it's not too bad. Give it a little bit of thought, though. Don't rush through it or anything like that. It's a good one. It's a good one. Okay, so the next one is Roger showed off a drone blast. I've got the video full screen though, so I'll bring that up. Let's have a look. It's really loud. Hold on. I'm going to turn it down. Okay. I really don't know how I feel about this one. Okay. Like on one hand, it's cool that it's not based directly on an alluvial. On the other hand, no, it's a tentacle, right? No alluvial has that involved at all. I believe. No, it's not an Aphisto tentacle. That would be shocks of some kind. I believe someone actually mentioned that it's a Leviathan tentacle, which makes sense.
Roger said that, but I have a very strong feeling it's just an Aphisto.
It's not an Aphisto. It's a giant purple tentacle. How would that be an Aphisto?
Aphisto is a slightly purple squid.
No, it's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense. Tell us in chat, is it a Leviathan or a... Yeah, I'm not even entertaining this. It is not an Aphisto.
It's an Aphisto.
Okay, the next one we got from Roger here. This was the first of a string.
That's it. Yeah.
This was the first of a string of Illuvium leaks that started to come out. And this is one from the MMO Lite. We actually see them walk through this area in the leak I'm going to show you later today. Oh, well, not that one. That one's in the Going Hyper one. It's a similar one. Anyways, really cool to see a lot of the Brightland steps, plants and things actually going throughout the bottom areas of the region in some way. And you've got to navigate through this terrain. honestly, I have a few hot takes on this myself, but I will leave that till later on in the video. I'm gonna leave that one for now. I think this is a pretty cool leak, but I don't like that this has been the priority for the MMO Lite. I just want to see them hit bosses, and I know that there's different people on the team, but I'm not the biggest fan. Looks cool though. This one's really cool. I think this is neat. Some sort of environment where he's activating a pedestal of some kind and maybe calling down a boss or doing some sort of quest or mission. Looks pretty cool. The terrain's neat. It'll definitely make the entire environment feel more alive. If they have more of this sort of stuff all over the overworld. That being said, I don't think it's that important. I think people just want a fun gameplay loop. That's what we need most of all. But this looks cool. It'll bring a bit more life and make it feel a bit more full. What do you think of this one?
Gameplay loop, like what you said. Like, yes, it's a screenshot, but without understanding the economy of the gameplay loop, it's.
But I can't comprehend how that specifically actually assists a gameplay loop at all. I don't know. This one looks really cool though. Great shot, and maybe for marketing, pretty valuable.
Sorry, we should. I feel like it's been long enough that we should bring on the new guys onto the podcast or this conversation. I will call it a podcast.
I was waiting for a specific thing because at some stage I expect them to talk about what they've been working on the MMO Lite, not necessarily with us, but in public. Yeah. Once that happens, we will have a lot of ammunition for a discussion with them.
I mean, we've been waiting a minute now. It's up to you, but what I think is that I would love to hear from them, whether it's here or a town hall. I feel like the last town hall was about 2 months ago. I might be wrong on that. It might be a month ago, and my time might just be warped in my mind.
I think it's 2.
I think it's 2. But I think having something nowish could be a good kind of revitalization of what the plan is, what the direction is, and XYZ. So, yeah,
I know from council. I know from council there are a lot of town hall adjacent plans internally. So I was kind of waiting for that. I don't know, some level of town hall or them discussing with the community. Yeah. And I was waiting for that. But you're right. Like, it feels like it's never going to happen. And maybe that's just because I'm out of the council. I don't have like direct insights on it anymore. But I just feel like it's never going to happen. And we should just do it ourselves. Like, take the rich approach. If build your own website.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Exactly right.
All right. I'll reach out to them straight after this pod. Remind me if you want. People in the community, remind me if you want. Let's just do it. Let's get something happening.
And like I said, I think if we can, let's try to get them one at a time and try and pinpoint exactly what they're specializing in, and we'll get more out of them than having an hour to split between them. That's 30 minutes each. Let's try and get the maximum output we can out of them.
Anyways, I do love that screenshot. We've got one from Illuvium Beyond now. I actually really like this one. This one's a little bit old. I might have shown it last week. The week before. I don't think I did. But I like this one. This one's cute. Atlas. Or is that an Axon? No, it's got to be an Atlas.
That's definitely an Atlas.
On little Mozart. His limbs look really long. Like the actual Atlas has like the tiniest ass little dinosaur arms. It's crazy.
Actually, let me ask you a question. Because I know that some of the art guys internally are against it, flat out against it. And like when we look at the Atlas, I think this is a great way to segue into this conversation. Is the reason that you asked is like, oh, is that an Atlas or an Axon? Because the limbs are longer. So it's not exactly the same as an Atlas. And now I think with AI generation, things don't need to be exactly the way they are intended. What is your take? I'm not going to give my take. But what is your take on using AI image generation for content on socials? And because again, I think the thing that drew in a lot of people was the IP. And I feel like we should be showcasing, I shouldn't say we should. We could be showcasing the IP in creative manners that don't rely on individuals to do the work in a much more efficient manner, where we've got short-term memory because of TikTok and yada, yada, yada. What's your take on that? Should we be utilizing AI to do this kind of thing? Or do you think stay away from that? The elite IP and the elite artwork for Illuvium is what sets it apart. Well, what's your take on this and why?
Okay. Number one, AI should 100% be in everyone's workflow for everything. Okay. I'm not saying replace the art with AI, but it has to be in your workflow. For example, at work, we're starting to use AI here and there. For anyone who doesn't know, in the industry I'm in, we do a lot of packaging design and stuff like that, and we have to make imagery of products in a circumstance, right? Like a vacuum on the ground cleaning. What we used to do is we used to go in Shutterstock and find an image and put the vacuum in that image and so on and so forth, right? The problem is you can find a really specific angle, a really specific kind of house and stuff like that. So now all we can do is we can generate the background image with AI. It knows exactly what angle the vacuum's at, and we can make it that way. Now, the problem with that is it always gets the vacuum wrong. At some point, it's not our vacuum anymore, but the angle and everything's perfect. So all we do then is we just swap out the product with Photoshop. And so now we leverage the best of all worlds, make our workflow faster, easier, get a better result, and without sacrificing the actual integrity of the product itself. I definitely think there's viability for Illuvium to do something similar. You give it enough region backgrounds and you say, create your own region background, but then you superimpose the alluvials and draw them manually on top of that. You still have to do the characters manually. AI will get it way too wrong for that to work. That's impossible. But there are levels to this thing where you can use AI for certain things. For example, with my thumbnail, it's not even a terrible example. They did an initial concept pass, and with the AI, I could turn it to a photorealistic image, or they could turn it into whatever stylized image that might look kind of like the final thing, rather than showing off an early concept art that can take 5 minutes with AI and enhance it a bit. Now, they might not want to, like the development phase of something is still a really cool image to show off as well. You can show off both, I don't know. But there are ways to utilize AI. I don't think you could generate atlases with AI, for example. I don't think that works.
It's funny you're saying this.
There's
I'm
lots of
trying
other
it
things.
right now. We'll find out in a couple of seconds. And I'll send it to you, and you can bring it up on screen and see what the chat thinks and yada yada yada.
It never looks right. I've tried it a bunch of times. It never looks right. But like, yeah, that's just my experience, and that's how I interpret it.
Interesting.
AI can speed up workflows, but it cannot replace the workflow, unfortunately.
No, and I don't expect it to replace it. Like I said, I'm very cautious on giving my thought process or giving my kind of input here. Yeah, I don't think it can replace. I think there are still very, very, very valuable needs from artists. I don't think you can just replace that with AI. But I think, like you say, there are opportunities. The way I'm looking at it, I'll say this and then we can move off this. But I think the thing that I'm not cautious, just aware of is that I think that the social media side could be optimized using AI if the art team was okay with it. I think you could scale up the social media output because I think that there's something that's very important to understand is that there is a difference between marketing and advertising, and I think that you could do a lot of marketing on social media without advertising the product using AI. And like, I'll send this to you. Look, this is not. This is a little bit crazy, but you can share this on your screen, Scoriox.
Honestly, I don't think you need to. They've got plenty of content if they want to use it for marketing. They just don't sometimes, I guess. And Rich does a really, really good job too.
No, he does a fantastic. He does a great job. I'm not saying that he's not doing a bad job.
Wow, he did pretty well. I'm surprised.
Yeah, like,
it's a little bit uncanny valley and kind of creepy, but
again, like, I don't think, like, in terms of scalability, I think this is where old marketers get it confused with new marketers of, hey, if we put something out, everyone's going to see it. It's like 3% of your total followers see. The algorithm is about scale. So it's about getting as much content out as possible and not being as attached to one content that much. So I think even if things like this go out, if you share it on your screen, but yeah, like, is it a perfect atlas? No. Is it good enough? I'd say so, considering the people that are going to see it. Maybe you can, and this was my first try at it, right? You could probably play around with it a bit more and do a bit more with it. But yeah, is it the worst thing in the world? Nah. I could say remove the tail and it looked way more like Atlas, and I might even do that for the end of the end of the podcast. Like
the question sometimes becomes, do you need to use AI for something like that? I reckon like the concept artists are actually really good at their job and they're actually pretty quick. Like
it,
obviously it's not as
in
fast
terms
as
of
AI,
scalability,
but
that's what I mean.
I would say I think an image that they would do would be much better than that and much more an Illuvium style and Illuvium's voice, and the authenticity of it all is pretty important too.
That's like, I don't have the answer, but that's where I'm grappling with it, right? I'm trying to understand is, yes, can they do it? Yes. Are they as efficient? No. Objectively. I think there's room for both. I don't think it's a this or that equation. I think it's an and equation. I think it's this and that.
Yeah, but I don't think you need Illuvium to do that. I think you get Illuvium to run $1,000 competition, best AI art wins, and Illuvium posts all of that AI art. I don't know why they would need to do it themselves.
Maybe. I mean, like,
I think that's better and that's more authentic too. It's like this is art from the community rather than them just using a bunch of AI art to promote their game. It's not very professional. I'm not a big fan of it personally.
okay, I disagree, but we can agree to disagree on this.
But like every company's voice is different, and this is an Illuvium's voice. If they want to change that, then I mean maybe, but I don't think it's currently is.
Yeah.
All right.
But we can move on. Yeah. We can agree.
So the next thing is Aaron said there's a bunch of things they're looking to fix that are minor annoyances or quality of life improvements, in addition to some more large scale things like weapons locking you into a little bit too much right now. Rich did mention, I think they have something coming to testnet next week to kind of address some of that. And yeah, there's a little bit of RNG and things like that. They're in a better state now than they've ever been, and nobody on the team is under the misapprehension that we've got it all worked out yet. It's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of feedback to get the feel right. In the meantime, it will be a bit in upheaval, but that's the nature of being in beta. And they're also looking to tie set 2 in with the MMO, and that takes a little bit more care to get right. So yeah, they're looking forward to that. I am too. He did say that Aaron claims that they've had a lot of people saying the units don't go back into the pool when a player is eliminated. He claims they do. I disagree. They don't. And yeah, there's a rating refresh decision. They have changed it already, I believe. For anyone who doesn't know, there was a 60% degradation in your rating every single week. People hated it. Didn't really work. I mean, I think it was a great idea. People were kind of asking for that, but it just didn't quite work. So now they're doing pretty much a hard reset every month. And that's basically it. Kieran sent his first message in the Discord for weeks and weeks, and it was this picture of him coming first.
Of course it was.
So that was pretty amusing. It absolutely was. Oh, could someone tell me, was there a reset today? Or yesterday or something? I need to play a game soon. You got rid of the tail, but he has a boot now. I'm not putting
it on Yeah. Again, a couple of
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you can get AI to generate the initial image, then I would Photoshop out the tail.
Yeah. Regardless, like, there's ways to do this in terms of efficiency.
I don't know what this one I was looking for was. Oh, Perry says he fully agrees that we're in dire need of utility for core collections, and it will be a pillar of the MMO. And they're working towards this, which is exciting. So that's good to see. Also, Neil says that there aren't any plans to do a small update to the team planner to integrate all the new weapon systems and things yet. But in the longer term, that's definitely on their list, their to-do list. So that's definitely on there. Also, they're going to put existing crates storable in the inventory, which I think is going to be absolutely awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. For some reason, it felt natural that they were on the bench, but that's not actually how it is in TFT. And really, it is just kind of messes with your strategy and your setup quite a bit. So I'm glad that this is getting changed. So it got reset. Maybe I should play after this and then do my video and then some other stuff. Okay. Neil says that the 15 minimum games per week is probably going to come back now that the weekly resets reverted back to how it was before. I think that makes total sense. So that's good. I'm glad that they're flexible with all this sort of stuff. But yep. Also, we have four people watching on Twitch. So welcome to Twitch, people. We never have this many. So glad to have you here. We also have one on Kick. I don't know who that person is, but glad to have you here as well. So Tech Jane says on GameFi today, they checked out Illuvium. The team is quietly building one of the most ambitious Web3 gaming ecosystems. I like this post, got a lot of views, got a lot of likes. People really enjoy it. I'm glad people are getting more into Illuvium and coming back every now and then. Toriel hit 1,000 followers. I thought that was exciting. Congrats to Toriel, of course. Tholke posted the feedback survey, so I still recommend everyone go and check that out. Illuvium actually finally added the ILV disc. I don't know what took them so long. Maybe they just didn't get access yet. It was a slow rollout from Discord, but we can finally add the ILV tag to our names. I am representing. Don't worry. Everyone go and add the ILV tag. It's like a fascinating marketing ploy from Discord. Like, you go into someone else's chat and you see their tag and you're like, I wonder what that is. You click it and it's got a direct link to the server. It's actually really cool cross-server promotion for a server. Really, really cool integration to Discord. They've made some pretty useless updates in recent history, but this one I think was sick. I don't know if you've used the tags yet, Ben.
I haven't. I'm aware, but I haven't. I prefer to
Also found
stay unclaimed.
It has a bunch of has a few views, things like that. He was just doing some price analysis on ILV. Yeah, if you want to check that out, that might interest some people. I don't know. It was an okay video. I didn't love it, but
like, bro.
And now we get to the leak. The leak, and let's discuss it. But first, I didn't have it at 1080p. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Did you hear a can crack open?
Yeah, but that wasn't me. Oh, I think Rich did it. Yeah.
Probably Dick. Yeah.
I remember hearing that when I was watching the the Going Hyper.
So,
I want to see who's holding a can.
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I don't see it. I'm pretty sure he has one, but I don't see it.
Guaranteed.
Okay, so that was the leak right there. Now, that's the first time you've seen it. What do you think?
Being completely
Wait. Firstly, I will note the other leak was way, way better.
Okay.
But this one addresses some things I want to talk about. I'll leave the other one for people who want to watch Going Hyper.
Can you get it up? I just bring it on. It doesn't matter because I want to see it. Let's talk about it. But bring it up as I'm speaking about it.
Let me see if I can find it.
It's funny that I'm saying as I talk about it, I've got like one sentence, but gameplay loop. How does it actually impact? Because right now, from the outside looking in, it looks like it's a level design situation. But the level design doesn't actually mean much if the gameplay loop and the gameplay economy isn't solved, which is the biggest flaw at the moment. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Like, it's cool. It looks nice. But without knowing the impact on the player and how our experience is going to be, it's very hard to kind of say this or that. I agree. I disagree. Which is why, like I say, I'd love to have the guys on the channel and we can actually ask them about this. But yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, sure.
We'll watch this one. Me and Jackson will hop off screen for this one real quick.
I think this is what's going to be the vertical slice, by the way. If I had to guess.
Again, the question I ask is what is the gameplay loop here? Like, this looks like level design. So my thought process still stands. It's what is the actual gameplay loop?
I think the idea is that they jump down in there and there's enemies everywhere. They're fighting them. They're getting up to the boss and they're fighting the boss, right?
If that is the case, but we're not seeing that. That's the part, right? We haven't seen that. That's an assumption.
Yeah, I think what gets to me a little bit is that they're doing adding all these props and the set dressing and stuff. And I know you kind of got to build up the boss and things like that, but there's no point making one boss. That doesn't build a game. I'd rather them spend all that time building out 10, 20 different boss levels in the existing content we have and having the game mechanics and the battle mechanics be really interesting. And I'm sure they're working on that as well. But like, why even build the other stuff? Like, I know there's probably like level designers in the team that can't do other things. And so that's what they're doing. And I get that. But I don't know. It's just, yeah, from the outside looking in, it just feels weird. It just feels weird.
Which is why I think that, look, I'm not going to pass judgment. I'm not going to be critical. I'm just trying to be objective here. When you say, oh, but this is where we're going to see Illuviums and we're gonna fight them, blah, blah, blah. We're not seeing that. So I'm just being objective about what we're seeing. It looks like level design. And which is why I think that we need to have the guys on and ask them, what is planned for this? Save these fucking clips. Like, save the leaks and present it to them. What is this? What are we as a player expected from? What are we expecting from this? What's expected from us? What are we expecting from this? Let's have that conversation. And I think that's where we're going to get a clearer idea.
I'm trying to think about procedural development, and this makes me a little bit nervous. You're going to develop a new chasm in the world for every single boss. What is the end game here? You can't. That takes way too long. Content is king, and this is not the way you get content done. There's just no way to bring this to scale, and scale is how it's going to work. I don't know. It just feels like it'll get really old, really, really, really fast. And that makes me nervous.
I'm not going to pass judgment because I don't know what the plan is. Like I said, it's
right.
funny because I'm usually the critical one, but yeah, like I'm not going to pass judgment until we ask him, like, what is the plan here? What is? And I think if you keep this energy when we do ask him, I think we're going to get better results from that conversation than being like, this is fucking amazing, blah 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 blah. Look, it looks amazing. There are things that we can compliment them on, absolutely. But let's ask them the questions that the community wants answered, right? I think it's not just us. I think the community does want to know what's up. Like, not even like in a bad way. They just want to know what can they expect as a player. Toriel that's played many, many hours. XYZ that's played many, many hours. What are we looking forward to? I think that's kind of what we want. As community members.
Yeah, and I honestly hate that I'm being so negative, but I was really looking forward to seeing something really interesting, and I'm not entirely sure we got that. Yeah, but maybe it didn't take them that long. I mean, that would be pretty bullish in itself, that as well. But
which is why I'm not passing judgment. We need to ask them straight, like, how long did this take? What's the objective? Like, I think the main thing is when we do get a date to have them on, me and you need to work together to curate the questions to actually get the answers not the answers that we want, but we want to get the answers for questions that we want answered, essentially. Like, we need to be very specific about the direction and the angle that we're taking these conversations.
Yeah, so like, I don't want it to seem like I'm that negative. I'm actually really glad we got these leaks, and I was really excited watching them. I thought they were really cool, and it shows that there is actually like some really interesting stuff that is being built behind the scenes. And for all we know, some of this sort of stuff is like you build all the combat systems in your testing level, and you build the environments in their own testing level, and you merge them together at the very, very end. Like, you don't merge very early. And so it just all comes together. I would have liked to see the combat testing level, and we saw a little bit of that in the Going Hyper, but yeah, no, I think this is really cool. I'm really excited with the direction of it in a certain sense. I hope they can make this procedural in some way. My only fear is that this is going to get really boring really quickly. As long as they can make sure that that's not the case, I think it's all good. But I'm no game designer, so maybe that's part of their plan. I don't know, but I'm excited for it. But yeah, like I should ask you though, which one do we get on then? If you want to talk about game mechanics and combat and stuff, right? Trevor is quests and Steven is progression systems, let's say. Which one come under
Which one's economy?
See, that's where I get tricky. I think Trevor's really focused on world building a quest. So I think Steven's everything else.
Cool. Well, I confirm with Dick. I'm pretty sure one of them is more economy. Let's get that guy on first. For me, I care more about the economy. And when I mean economy, I don't mean marketplace economy. I mean gameplay economy. What are the sinks? What are the taps? What are the drains? How does the economy actually loop? Like, does it make sense? Okay, I'm losing health. How do I get it back? Is it just recharge? Alluvials, how do I get them? Do we burn them? Like, I want to understand that. If that is clean, then the rest of the stuff kind of falls into place. So I think the harder part is actually more on the economy loop of the game. So whoever is in charge of that, I want to speak to that person.
Yeah, and I think people in chat make some pretty good points as well. Like Big Man says he wants to see Destiny 2 combat, and he hopes partner alluvial combat is good too. I said this in my thread. I've said this many times. The partner alluvial combat is the only way Illuvium can separate itself from in the gaming industry. And if that is too much like Palworld, but more like it's exactly the same as Palworld, where it's not going to work. It's just gonna fall really, really flat. I think that's really important to me. Destiny 2 combat, yeah, it could be kind of cool. I mean, how hard is that really? Pretty much all combat RPGs of some kind have pretty much Destiny 2 combat, right? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yep, I will reach out and I will see if they can come on for next week. If not, the week after, I'll try my best. But they barely ever message in the Discord. I think they're watching, I think they're listening, but they barely ever message. So it'll be good to get them on.
Which is what I think, even if we get them on every 3 weeks, once a month even, right? Like, let's rotate. I think it'd be cool because, I mean, you're the most consistent Illuvium content creator outside of gameplay. I know there are other people that focus solely on gameplay, but in terms of information, you're the guy. I think getting that information out to the community is super fucking valuable. And this is where I would put pressure on you to clip that shit up. If it's not the Illuvium team, clip that shit up. Give it to Illuvium. Let them fucking put it out on their socials. I know you've got real life things that you're working on as well, but someone needs to maximize the output from the input. If Trevor or Steve, their name's Trevor. I know Trevor. The other guy's name's Steve. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Steve. Trevor and Steve, if they're putting an hour and a half into this podcast, someone should be clipping this shit for 10, 15 pieces of content. 10, 15 pieces of content could go out on the socials for twice a week, once a week, for 2 weeks. That's a lot of content and a lot of context that people can get that aren't going to watch a whole fucking hour and a half podcast. You get what I'm trying to say? So whether that's coming from you, like, again, I could do it. I'm just a guest on your podcast, but those are opportunities, is what I'm trying to say, right? If someone wants to do that, I've got a job. If someone wants to try and get on board into the Illuvium team as a community member, these are opportunities that are there, and people kind of just need to acknowledge that and then act on it if that's what they want to do.
But I think you're right, is that we complain about them not giving us enough information and stuff like that. But realistically, Aaron has said many times, ask me whenever the fuck you want. I will come on for AMAs. Kieran has said similar. It really is up to me in the end to go out and just get people on, chat to them, and just bring that information to the community. I'm not really pulling enough initiative, and I probably should be doing more, to be completely honest.
Do you think that, and I don't know the answer to this, right? I genuinely don't. Do you think Aaron and Kieran can give the same kind of answers that Steve and Trevor could on the direction of the MMO?
Oh, I was just talking in more like a general... I was more talking on principle. Is the Illuvium team has no issue with me getting them on to talk to them about deep shit.
Well, then I think we should. Like, once a month at least, right? And again, I'm just a fucking guest. I don't even need to be on here. You can kick me off at any fucking point. Like, it is what it is. And I shouldn't even be cussing the way I am right now.
You're the co-host, man. You're the co-host. You always have been.
But like, no, yeah, we should be doing that, and I think it would be beneficial to everyone. And I think the thing that is valuable is the clipping up. I think that's the part, because when we speak for an hour, we speak for 30 minutes. A lot of people aren't going to watch for 30 minutes, but they might watch for 30 seconds. They might watch for a minute, and we can clip minuscule things for the Illuvium socials to put out and be like, this is something that they've spoke about. This is something that they've highlighted. Not just us, just in general. And I think there are opportunities present that aren't being utilized. I'm trying to be very cautious with the words I'm trying to say. I'm trying not to cuss.
No, I think that's fair. I'll reach out to them. If there's any questions you guys have, let me know. Or if you want to help me push this agenda, let me know. Not even every month, every 2 weeks, we should have someone on. Like, I would even love to speak to like Nil. I think Nil would be great to chat. People
100%.
would love that. People would love that.
And again, clip it. The thing is, when we're getting the Illuvium,
you say clip it. I don't have that much time, right? We're chilling. Like, if I could afford one of those AI subscriptions, I would, but I cannot.
Bro, like, I'll tell you right now. Look, we can have this conversation offline. I'll tell you right now, and I'll give the secret to whoever's in the chat if they genuinely want to help and maybe even get a job on Illuvium. You can go to something called transcript.ai or something like that. Put in the link to the podcast. It gives you the complete transcript. Copy the transcript. Put it on ChatGPT. ChatGPT, give me 10 to 30 second clips that you think are high value and high engagement. It's going to tell you the time frames. You can clip that out. It legitimately gives you the times to clip out. So you can actually do that very, very quick. And again, AI clipping isn't fantastic because it misses out a lot of the key points of a community context, niche context. ChatGPT gets a lot more of it. So there are so many ways to do this. But yeah, like, I think there are opportunities. I'm not saying it's you. I probably could, right? I'm not going to make excuses. I probably fucking could. But
all right, let's wrap it up. Let's bring it home. I'm going to jump on for one. I'm not going to play it on stream, but I'm going to jump on for one game of Illuvium after this. So if anyone's in the arena, you might see me in there. Cool. And with that, the download is...
Well, sorry. Real quick, before the download's complete, do you want to share the AI things that I sent you?
How many did you send?
I sent 2 more. Like, they're not
I didn't see them.
They're not the same. But again, like, I'm just kind of sharing that there is a possibility. It doesn't stray so much from the original design.
It strays pretty far, man. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Do you think so?
Actually, it's better than it's been in the past.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I don't know how you got it so close, though.
Bro, it's my first prompt.
especially this Titanol one. That one's dope.
That was my first prompt. I'm legitimately trying a second prompt now, but like, there are opportunities for social media content. That's what I'm trying to say. And again, I'm not expecting Dick to do it. He's got so much on his plate already. But as the community, there's so much content that we could be putting out. Like, it's not the greatest in the world, but you could work with it.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think Illuvium needs to put it out. Everyone can just give it to them, and Illuvium can repost and stuff. That's fine too.
Yeah, see, I think that Illuvium should be putting out to build out the IP, but that's just me. Like, that looks sick. The Titanol looks sick. It looks like a Titanol. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't have a fucking 5th leg. There's nothing wrong about the Titanol. I think there are opportunities. I do think there are opportunities.
Nice. Yeah, they're really, really nice. And I think you're right. They could build up the lore and stuff like that. Like, they're pretty close.
That's
the Rampfire one strays a little bit. Titanol one's nailed it. Okay. That's good. I think it's interesting stuff to think about. I don't think the Illuvium team would ever do that. But with that, the download is complete. Have a good one, guys.